Hey, I'm Kai, and today is going to be a pretty special demo. My partner Emily has been interested in building pedals for quite a long time now, and today I'm checking out her first ever build. She's named it Radish as she is a keen gardener, and she did the artwork on this one herself. I'll give a quick overview on the pedal before we get into some tones and that. I'm going to keep this video pretty short overall though, as it's a very simple pedal. This is based on the MXR Distortion Plus, and it was a kit build from Jeds Peds here in the UK. Now, I won't get her on camera for this video, but I did get a few notes from her on the process, just in case that's something you were interested in. Overall, she did really enjoy the build process. The learning curve was steep but short. Now, she came into this with no real knowledge of electronics. As she's not a guitarist, she hasn't even performed so much as a pickup swap. This meant that she had to learn quite a lot of fundamental skills to get to even the base level of pedal building, such as how to use a soldering iron, for instance. She also had to learn how to identify each component, how to read a multimeter, and how to desolder. Now, while the instructions in this kit do cover a lot of the base pedal building sort of stuff, it did leave out a lot of things like basic soldering skills. Kind of understandable, but it does assume that you have some level of knowledge before you get into it. Excluding a little bit of time taken due to the desoldering process, this kit probably took about 6 hours from start to finish over the course of a few days. I've got the pedals set up on my desk now, and the first thing I want to try out is how it sounds into the front end of a clean amp. For this, I've got the Fractal FM3 set up with the Hiwatt DR103 model. I'm starting out with my Balaguer synthwave Espada, but I will be switching out guitars later on. Since there's only two knobs here, gain and level, we'll sweep through the range of gain this pedal has available. The gain knob is on the left hand side here. As you can probably hear, it goes from a fairly nice clean boosty overdrive sort of thing all the way up to pretty crunchy rock tones. I want to showcase a few of the tones across the spectrum, so let's play something to that low gain tone first. Here's more of a mid-gain setting where it starts to turn into more of a distortion than an overdrive, just at that point where it starts to bite. I'll engage this halfway through so that you can hear what it's like in comparison to the clean tone. Finally, for this guitar, here's what it sounds like close to maxed out. It's sort of leaning towards fuzzy, but that may be because this amp is just on the edge of breakup. I'm interested to hear how the Radish will sound through a lower output guitar, so I'll switch over to the closest thing I have to a Strat. So now that I've got this Shacked Nick Johnston, it's something that I can include in demos like this a little bit more often going on. If you'd like to check out my full review of this one, there will be a link in the description box down below. I'll stick with the same high watt that we had going on for the first tone, though it's going to be a little bit lower gain due to these pickups. Let's again go for a low gain thing first, and then we'll move over to a higher gain. Now we'll hear the Strat on a higher gain tone. Absolutely threw my plectrum there. I'm really enjoying that, so I may even do one more tone with this guitar. It's got a very like Bill Murray Midwest emo type of drive to it. Now the last tone I want to check out is something into a bit of a dirtier amp, so I'm going to switch over to my PRS S2, which I have tuned down to drop C. Now the amp model that I'm running here is the JCM 800 model in the Fractal FM3, so it's going to be pretty gainy, pretty crunchy. I just want to see if this pedal can do those sort of mid-gain overdrive kind of things. We will of course hear the JCM 800 dry first. Now let's engage the pedal on a low gain sort of tone and see what that's adding before we move up to something a little bit higher. Now we'll crank up this gain as far as I'm comfortable with this amplifier and see where we end up. Definitely gets into those sort of sludgy, grungy, stoner rock sort of territories, but I'm a huge fan of that. Now, before I get into a review of the pedal itself, I just want to mention how cool it is that Emily is doing pedals in the first place. Obviously, it's nice to get pedals built for me at half the cost of buying them brand new, but it's also nice to have someone in my house I can nerd out over pedals with. As far as the Distortion Plus goes though, especially this kit from Jeds Peds, I think it's a very simple design, and as someone who's not a major fan of distortion pedals, I think this does have quite a lot going for it. I think paired with the Strat, it was my favourite, where you got into those sort of Midwest emo, spanky, pop-punk territories. I do kind of feel like I'm missing a tone control to be able to use this as a pedal in all sorts of different environments, but for what it is, it works great. So you may be wondering what's next in the plans. Well, she's already got a second kit on order from Jeds Peds. The next one is going to be the Hat, which is based on the JHS AT pedal. After that, I think the next step is going to be stripboard builds. I've got a ton of pedals favorited already, so it's just going to be a case of ordering the parts and then getting them all assembled. There's also one pretty random stretch goal that I think would be pretty great. So I actually did build a couple of pedals with my dad back when I was about 17. We maybe built 2 or 3 and one of the 3 failed. We sort of jumped right into the deep end with it. We bought enough parts to do about 20 pedals, all the enclosures were painted, drilled, ready to go, but it was really just the troubleshooting stages that we were having problems with. The only one we did complete was a swollen pickle for a friend of mine, but that ended up failing at a gig, so not sure if you could count that as a complete success. I did have a pretty mammoth plan though. I wanted to build an all-in-one pedal featuring some of my favourite circuits. It was the kind of thing you see jam pedals doing now with pedals like the Cockness Monster and the Pink Flow. We joined two giant enclosures together, we drilled out all the holes enough to do all 4 pedals in one massive box, and we painted it all ready to go, but just never populated it. It's something I would really like to bring back, and I'd love to see Emily revive this idea. However, it is going to be a major project to undertake. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will leave a link in the description box down below if you'd like to check out Jeds Peds for yourself. This isn't a sponsored video, they don't know I'm making this. This was really just to showcase Emily's work. However, Jeds Peds kits are reasonably priced, the instructions are thorough enough to get you through, and everything's a nice process. I'll leave my affiliate links for Toman in the description box as well. Those links will give me a little bit of kickback whenever you shop at Toman and don't cost you anything to use. That's all for this video though, so thank you for watching, and until next time, I've been Kai.